Freeways. Most people don't spend much time thinking about them one way or another. They're simply a fact of life. However, they are an incredible achievement. Our freeway system gives us a combination of mobility and safety that is unmatched in the history of transportation. Freeways are safe because there is no cross-traffic. Everyone moves in the same direction at about the same speed. And the road surface is good, with wide shoulders, gradual curves, and clear signing. However, to take advantage of this remarkable transportation system, drivers must develop some special habits. The reason is that freeways require quicker thinking at critical decision points, changing lanes, making emergency stops, or getting on and off the freeway. Getting off the freeway or exiting is a good place to look at these special habits. Perhaps the most important habit to develop is to anticipate the exit and move into the appropriate lane, left or right, well in advance. To do this, you must know the name of your exit as well as the one before it. This involves planning your trip with a map if you're in a strange area. Before you change lanes to exit, look in your mirrors, signal, and then double-check by looking over your shoulder. This is called a head check and is a very important habit to develop in freeway driving. Then, once you've checked, merge into the deceleration lane as soon as possible to avoid holding up through traffic. Slow to the posted ramp speed by the time you enter the ramp. Look out for signs that warn of tight curves. There are several common mistakes that people make while exiting. The most dangerous is backing up after missing an exit. Never back up on a freeway. Go on to the next exit. The second most common problem with exiting is that people fail to slow down to ramp speed while still in the deceleration lane. After a long trip on the freeway, people also tend to fail to lower their speed to that of regular traffic when they enter the surface streets. In a few cases, the exit ramp may be on the left-hand side of the freeway. In this instance, it is even more important to act decisively because you are leaving the freeway from the fast lane. There's a special type of exit that is actually half exit and half entrance. It's called a weave lane. A weave lane occurs when exiting and entering traffic crisscross, using the same lane for getting on and off the freeway. The safest procedure in a weave lane is for the entering motorist to yield. The exiting car should choose a gap and proceed quickly and smoothly. Weave lanes call for quick decisions and a spirit of cooperation. There is another special kind of exit where one major freeway splits off from another. This is a case where you have to be prepared to move either left or right. Usually you are warned well in advance that 2 or 3 lanes will separate to the right and 2 or 3 to the left. Often major freeway junctions are marked by diagrammatic signs like this, which give you an instant overview of the pattern or configuration of separation. One of their main functions is to prepare drivers for lane changes to the left. In fact, there is a well-thought-out system of freeway guide signs that are designed to give you the information you need to make the quick decisions required by freeway driving. Sometimes people ask themselves, especially in urban areas, why can't I have more advance warning? The exit seems to come too fast and I'm often in the wrong lane. Well, there is a series of signs designed to give just that advance warning. They are called advance guide signs. These follow a typical progression. Let's say your exit is Elm Avenue. First, you would encounter a sign warning you that Elm Avenue is coming up in 3 miles. There may be another at 1.25 miles, and again at a 1/2 mile. The exit itself will then be marked by a sign which simply indicates its direction with an arrow. There is a common confusion about these advance guide signs. When they see a sign like this, many people will ask themselves, is that 1 mile to Ramona or just to the Highway 78 exit? Well, whenever the word exit appears anywhere on the sign, the distance shown is to the exit only. The town of Ramona may be many miles off on Highway 78. There is another kind of sign that does show distance to popular destinations. It looks like this. The word exit is not anywhere on the sign. You also hear the question, why is the destination I'm looking for never on the sign? Well, clearly not every town can be listed, so it's up to you to know the major town nearest your destination. Another case where freeway driving requires quick decision-making occurs when a cross street has two closely spaced exits. For example, one north and the other south. Here again, the advanced guide signs give you the information you need to decide what to do. Another major critical area involves entering the freeway. Getting on the freeway requires a lot of the same habits we talked about earlier. Because the flow of freeway traffic is faster than surface streets, you must develop the habit of entering the flow smoothly and decisively. But that is not as easy as it may seem. You should accelerate to ramp speed. Then, as soon as you can see what is coming, identify a gap that will allow you to enter the stream of traffic. And accelerate to full freeway or mainstream speed while still in the acceleration lane. Here, using your turn signal to indicate your intentions, you continue to check for a gap in traffic, using your mirrors and checking over your shoulder while monitoring traffic ahead for an unexpected slowdown. Now make a final visual check over your shoulder and then enter traffic quickly and smoothly. Get into the gap as soon as possible and turn off your directional signal. Two common mistakes drivers make while entering the freeway are hesitating on the ramp or in the acceleration lane and merging at too slow a speed. Once you're on the freeway, you're faced with a choice of lanes. The right-hand lane, or number 1 lane, is for entering or exiting traffic, as well as slow-moving traffic, and in some cases trucks and buses. When you're in the right lane and you see a vehicle in front of you about to merge onto the freeway, give the driver a chance. If it's safe, speed up, slow down, or move over in order to create a gap for the merging driver. Generally speaking, the middle lanes are for through traffic, passing, and in some cases, merging to other freeways at major interchanges. The left lane is for higher speed traffic. Whenever you change lanes, be sure to check your rearview mirror for the general position of cars around and behind you. Then check your side view mirror to see if the lane you want to enter is free. If it appears to be clear, then signal, make a final visual check over your shoulder, and change lanes. There are two common problems with lane changes. The first is that many cars have a blind spot over the driver's shoulder. The blind spot is the area of the roadway you don't see to the left or right rear when looking in the side view mirrors or rear view mirror. It's easy to miss a car, or especially a motorcycle, in the blind spot. The other is that two cars will often begin to change into the same lane at the same time from opposite sides. To avoid this situation, glance at your mirrors frequently to keep track of the cars on both sides and behind you. Then signal well in advance to give warning to the other driver, check over your shoulder, and change lanes. In general, the best way to avoid a collision in any situation is to maintain a space margin all around your vehicle. A space margin gives you the time, visibility, and room to react to an emergency with a smooth, evasive maneuver, rather than an uncontrolled panic stop or swerve. The space margin over which you have the greatest control is the path of travel in front of you. It's helpful to think of it in terms of 3 zones. The first is a 2-second following distance. This is the interval that a driver should leave between his or her car and the vehicle in front. The second is a 4-second stopping zone, the minimum distance you will need to stop your car at freeway speeds. And the third is a 12-second visual lead. This is the minimum sight distance you will need ahead of your car that will give you time to identify, evaluate, and decide what to do about a hazard before you reach your 4-second stopping zone. Maintaining your space margin is a dynamic process. You must constantly adjust your speed and your position to the right or the left. For example, if you can't see 12 seconds ahead because you're following a big truck, you can change lanes to increase your visibility. It's just as important to maintain a space margin behind you. If you're being tailgated, you can move over or speed up if there is free space. If you have to make a sudden stop, pump your brakes to flash your lights and then brake smoothly to avoid being rear-ended. It is also desirable to maneuver so as to leave a space margin on at least one side of your car so that you will always have an escape route in case of an emergency. Speaking of emergencies, they don't happen often, but once in a while you may be faced with a breakdown. When such an event occurs, the object is to get your car as far off on the nearest shoulder, either left or right, as you can. If you start to run out of gas, use the last few sputters to get your car off the road. Signal for help by putting up the hood and setting flares. The habits that allow us to utilize the freeway to the greatest advantage involve decisions. Decisions that often must be made without hesitation at critical points. We will review a typical freeway trip in terms of these habits. First, know your exits and interchanges before starting. Second, choose a gap and enter the freeway without hesitation. Then, change lanes and pass smoothly. Maintain a space margin around your car. Maneuver your vehicle so as to leave yourself a safe option in case of an emergency. Use freeway signing information to anticipate interchanges and exits. And finally, exit the freeway smoothly. By following these principles, you can take advantage of this remarkable freeway transportation system.